Hello, good morning students. This is MC Physics second semester online lecture series for the subject Physics of Nanomaterials, which has code PHOTB 4. In previous lecture we have studied that the need of quantum mechanics to understand the concepts of nanomaterials. After that we have studied the density of states in 1 dimension, 2 dimension, 3 dimension and also for 0 dimension. In today's lecture, we are going to study about the synthesis methods. In that, we are first discussing about physical methods. In physical methods, we have started the method of synthesis of nanomaterials. In that, we are going to study about physical vapor deposition and chemical vapor deposition. Okay, but before that, first we understand what is evaporation. So, the methods based on evaporations are depending upon following points. It says that there are variety of methods used to form nanostructures by evaporating the material on some substrate. The nanostructure material can be in the form of thin films, multilayer films or the nanoparticles. There are several methods in which material of interest is brought in the gaseous phase, atoms or molecules which can form cluster and then deposit on appropriate substrate. Here substrate means any solid material which can be used as a base. On that we are going to impose or synthesize our material of interest. It is possible to obtain very thin even at atomic layer known as monolayer, because we have studied that we are concerning with the scale size around 10 raised to minus 9 meter. So that is along or approximately nearby to the atomic scale. So we can make a layer which is called as atomic monolayer, or also multilayers. Multilayers are layers of two or more materials stretched over each other. You can make a single material monolayer or many, or you can say poly layers, forming nanomaterials of interest. Evaporation can be achieved by various methods like resistive heating, electron beam heating, laser heating and sputtering. To evaporate a material in gaseous form, we use resistive heating, electron beam heating and laser heating or sputtering. It should be remembered that all the synthesis processes need to be carried out in a properly designed vacuum system. Okay, in experimental techniques 1, we have studied the vacuum system. Vacuum means absence of medium. There is no any kind of medium. Okay, so for this synthesis of nanomaterial, we will going to synthesize the material all in vacuum. Okay, so as to avoid uncontrolled oxidation of source materials and final product as well as that of components of the synthesis system. After doing this vacuum, the mean free path of the particles also increases in vacuum system, which is often desired even if some reactive gases are used in certain cases of deposition. So it is useful first to evacuate the system to very low pressure so that the material to be desynthesized do not get contaminated by undesired atoms, and then pressurize the system to desired value by introducing the high purity gases. Materials to be evaporated are usually heated from some suitable filaments or crucibles or boat, etc. The sources are electrically heated so that enough vapors of materials to be deposited are generated. If the material to be deposited wets the filament material without forming any alloy or compound, then filament is considered to be suitable. Otherwise, one need to melt the material in basket. This type of heating has disadvantage that the crucible itself surrounding parts also get heated and become the source of unwanted contamination or impurities. Therefore, we are using the electron beam heating to get desired nanomaterials. That electron beam is focuses on the material to be deposited and kept in a crucible. After it melts, only some central portion of the material in crucible avoiding contamination from the crucible. Thus, high impurity materials can be obtained. How the deposition occurs by evaporation. Let's see. As you have to know that at any temperature there is some vapor pressure of material. Some atoms leave and some return to the material in equilibrium state. In process of evaporation, the number of atoms leaving the surface of solid or liquid material should exceed the atoms returning to the surface. This phenomena is given by the relation that evaporation rate from a liquid is given by Hertz-Nuissance equation as follows. It states that the dN by dt is equal to A alpha bracket 2 pi m kt bracket raised to minus 1 upon twice p star minus p, where n represents the number of molecules or atoms leaving a liquid or a solid surface. A is the area from which atoms evaporate. Alpha gives the coefficient of evaporation. M is mass of evaporating atoms. K is Boltzmann constant. T is represent temperature. P star for equilibrium pressure at the source of evaporation, and P is hydrostatic pressure on the surface. Let's see some evaporation methods. First one is physical vapor deposition and second one is chemical vapor deposition. In physical vapor deposition, that involves material of evaporation, an inert gas or reactive gas for collision of material vapor. Next is a cold finger on which cluster or nanoparticles can condense, and a scraper to scrap the nanoparticles, and at last we need piston and wheel for an arrangement in which nanoparticle powder can be compacted. All these processes are carried out in a vacuum chamber so that the desired purity of end product can be obtained. Vacuum chamber represent the absence of medium. In experimental techniques part 1, we have studied the vacuum technology. We are using the different ranges of vacuums to synthesize the different methods or the nanomaterials. The next figure schematically illustrates a setup for carrying out physical vapor deposition and compressing the powder in a pellet form. In this figure, we can see that the nanoparticles by physical vapor deposition particle condense on the central cooled rod. There is a liquid nitrogen attached to the central cooled rod which used to condense the vapors which are formed due to the synthesis process. Next we have cold finger, scraper. Those are the atoms which are condensed on this central rod are scraped by a scraper and collected by a funnel to form a pellets by using piston and wheel. There is also gas inlet, crucibles are there, and one connection to the vacuum pump to create a vacuum inside the chamber. Usually metals or high vapor pressure metal oxides are evaporated or sublimated from filaments or boards of refractory metals like tungsten, Ta, molybdenum, in which the material to be evaporated are held. The density of this evaporated material close to the source is quite high and particle size is small, which is approximately less than 5 nanometer. But such particle can easily interact to acquire stable state. Due to the cluster direction between particle get formed. Therefore, they should be removed from the source as fast as possible. And this process is done by forcing an inert gas, which we have seen that in diagram. There is also a pipe for a gas inlet. From that we insert inert gas near the source, which removes the particle from the vicinity of the source. In general, the rate of evaporation and the pressure of gas inside the chamber determines the particle size and their distribution. The distance of the source from the cold finger is also important. Evaporated atoms and clusters tend to collide with gas molecules and make bigger particles, which condenses on cold finger. While moving from source to cold finger, the cluster grows, and if the cluster have been formed on inert gas atoms, on reaching the cold finger, gas atoms leave the particle and escape to the gas phase. If reactive gases like oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen or methane, etc., are used in system, evaporated materials can interact with these gases, forming oxide, nitride, and hydride particles. For example, using gas pressure of hydrogen more than 500 kilopascal, titanium hydride particles, which is less than 112 nanometer size, were produced. By annealing them in oxygen atmosphere, they could converted into titania TiO2 or titanium dioxide, having a rutal phase. However, if titanium nanoparticles were produced in hydrogen gas pressure, which is less than 500 kilopascal, then that could be converted into any crystalline oxide phase of titanium, but always remained in a amorphous state. Cluster or nanoparticle condensed on the cold finger, water or liquid nitrogen cooled central rod, which we have seen in that schematic diagram, that can be scraped off inside the vacuum system. This process of evaporation and condensation can be repeated several times until the quantity of material falls through a funnel in which a piston and wheel arrangement has been provided. One can even have separate low and high pressure presses. A pressure of few megapascal or 2 gigapascal is usually applied depending upon the material. Low porosity pellets are easily obtained. These pellets have density that is around 70 to 90% of that bulk material. Next, we will study the chemical vapor deposition. Chemical vapor deposition is a hybrid method using chemicals in vapor phase. It is conventionally used to obtain coatings of a variety of materials as inorganic or organic materials. It is widely used in industry because the relative simple instrumentation, ease of processing, possibility of depositing different types of materials, and economically viability. Under certain deposition condition, nanocrystalline films or single crystalline films are possible. There are also some variants of chemical vapor depositions like some metalloorganic CVD, MOCVD, atomic layer epitaxy, ELE, vapor phase epitaxy, VPE, plasma enhanced chemical vapor deposition, that is abbreviated as PECVD, etc. They differ in source, gas pressure, geometrical layouts, and temperatures. Basic CVD process can be considered as a transport of reactant vapor or a reactant gas towards the substrate. You can see in figure that the substrate is kept at some high temperature where the reactant cracks into different products which diffuses on the surface, undergoes some chemical reaction at appropriate site, nucleate and grow to form a desired material film. In the figure you can see that there is a gas inlet in vapor form and there is a substrate over there, and you can see that the black dark is gaseous reactant, circle cross is intermediate product, and the square represent the gaseous product after reaction, and the plain circle represent the solid product. The byproduct created on the substrate have to be transported back to the gaseous phase, removing them from the substrate. Vapors of desired material are pumped into reaction chamber using some carrier gas. In some cases, the reaction occurs through aerosol formation in the gas phase. It is preferable that the reaction occurs at the substrate rather than in the gas phase. The temperature in this process is around minus 300 to 1200 degrees Celsius is used at the substrate. There are two ways like a hot wall and cold wall by which substrate are heated as shown in figure A and B. In figure A you can notice that there is an inlet for vapor or gas. There is also a heater on upside and downside, and the chamber is put within that heater, and there is also exhaust pipe. A substrate that different lines are put over there, you can see in the figure. In case of cold wall, there is a inlet for vapor gas and exhaust, but in case that the filament is provided below the substrate. Now, in hot wall setup, the deposition can take place even on reactor walls. This is avoided in cold wall design. Besides this, the reaction can take place in gas phase with a hot wall design. Coupling of plasma with a chemical reaction in cold wall setup is feasible. Gas phases ranges in 0.1 torr to 1.0 torr are used inside this chamber. Growth rate and film quality depend upon the gas pressure and the substrate temperature. The intermediate temperature, it is limited by mass transport, that is supply of reacting gases to the substrate. The reaction is faster and supply of reactant is slower. At high pressure or high temperature, growth rate reduces due to the deposition of precursors from the substrate. When two types of atoms or molecules, say P and Q, are involved in the desired film, there are two ways in which growth rate can take place. In what is known as the Langmuir-Hinshelwood mechanism, both P and Q type of atoms or molecules are adsorbed on the substrate surface and interact there to produce PQ. In this figure, you can see that one species is adsorbed in excess of the other. The growth depends on the availability of absorption sites for both P and Q, as shown in schematic diagram below. In this, you can see that the circle represents P and this dark square represents Q. When they both are combined by the growth rate and the ratio of P by Q, the whole process is known by Lamguer-Hinshelwood mechanism for growth. However, it is also possible to have another way in which reaction can occur, that is, one species says P adsorber on the substrate and the species Q from gas phase interacts with the P. Thus, there is no sharing of sites as there is in first Lamguer-Hinshelwood's law. This type of mechanism is known as Rayleigh-Ridle mechanism as shown in figure below. Here you can see that the growth rate is increasing and then gets saturated with respect to P by Q ratio, and whole is known as Rayleigh-Ridle mechanism.